Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another edition of Paradigm Shift and Educational Comedy, where I, Dave Kelso, will be explaining to you the societal negative feedback loop that we've all been taught to remain trapped in, which has us constantly betraying ourselves and repeating the same cycles of self-abuse over and over again. If you wish to understand how to exit this loop, then this video is for you. I'm not going to tell you that this is going to be easy, but just going to show you that it's possible. Originally, this was going to start off as a bit of a kind of a rant on screen, viewing some things and talking about stuff and etc. And still going to do that. But right at the last second, when I was about to go live, Richard Hamilton pops on Skype, calls me, and I'm like, hey, I'm about to go and do this. So, you can either participate or not. That's your choice. And I told him exactly what I just told you a moment ago. And he's like, cool, sure, totally aligned with that. Right up the alleys and things he's been wanting to talk about as well. So in order to go into this, see, originally, I was going to have my own full-blown rant, right? But then as synchronicity would have it, Katerina shared with me some posts by this chick by the name of Jen Rode, and they perfectly go into everything I wanted to say anyway. So Jen Rode is kind of participating by proxy, in a sense. She's here in spirit, so it's like, all right, awesome. Everything I was going to say is very well explained in those. So I'm going to enable screen share mode, and I'm going to enlarge the font and stuff once I'm there so that you all can read along if you want to. Alrighty. Rich, can you see this okay?
Yeah, it's clear.
All right.
Might want to make it a little bit bigger, though.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Chat box needs to go away. How's that? We good? We coming in clear with it?
Yeah, I'd say maybe just a little more.
Okay. And oftentimes people love to like pop up private messages and everything. So I kind of posted this little thing on Facebook, stating if they don't want what they're telling me to go out to the planet, then, please wait. I'm just going to start with the bottom one first and then go up, because I've been facing these sorts of situations myself, these various challenges, and like I think just about everyone around me is facing these sorts of challenges right now, because the quantum mirror being what it is. Okay, so here we go, the first one, and this is a chick by the name of Jen Rode. She also has a YouTube channel. I don't know what her channel is offhand. I can look for that, after I'm done discussing this and while Richard is saying his piece, and then I can mention it before we close everything out. But for now, here we go. And Jen Rode states, apparently I'm being initiated into being a public figure. This has been a wildly fascinating week. For the first time in my life, I've observed others naming me publicly and ranting about their emotions, feelings, and triggers about me. Both of these people, ironically enough, are people I've never met in person and had very few interactions with. I could take this as a sign that I need to tone it down and hide. I could take this as a sign that I need to process and stew on what I did wrong. Instead, I see this as a major sign that I'm on a roll, that I'm up leveling rapidly, and this gets me excited. Both of these people have no idea who I am, and to be fair, I don't know who they are either. Both of these people have no idea that I'm a mother of two, that I'm pregnant, that I'm a flesh and blood human being, that I truly, deeply care about other people's transformation, that I can smell victim mentality and self-sabotage from a mile away because I've played those cards in my life all too well. And here we go with the notifications, shaking things up a bit here. Okay, where's my pace? It's like shiny thing popped up, squirrel, lost my place. ADD moment. That I can smell victim mentality and self-sabotage from a mile away because I've played those cards in my life all too well, only to find that they got me nowhere. That I worked my ass off to be successful, that I grew up on welfare. They have no idea that Ben and I grew our empire that is the Road Institute from $600 in our bank account and absolutely nothing to fall back on. They have no idea who I am and that I'm so fucking intense because I care deeply. All they know is they are triggered, uncomfortable, and afraid of my intensity. And that's okay. Not everyone is ready for my medicine. That doesn't mean I'm going to start watering down my medicine to appease others. And of course, for the extremist, fundamentalist, literalists in the crowd, medicine is a metaphor. It's not meant to be taken literally. She's not trying to be a doctor or force anything on anybody or whatever. So for the metaphorically impaired and the literalistically addicted, there's the clarification. Continuing on. I get the feeling that false interactions like these are occurring for major leaders and celebrities on a daily basis. Here's the thing. I never understood why there are all those crazy stories about celebrities. Celebrities needing everything to be in perfect order. Celebrities flipping out on paparazzi. Celebrities turning to drugs and alcohol to numb out. Don't worry, there will be no numbing out or suppressing of emotions here. Clearly, I'm fully self-expressed. There will be no hiding, there will be no shame, and there will be no tolerance of verbal abuse or name-calling in my domain at any time. But I truly am starting to get the whole celebrity thing, as I have the rare opportunity to glimpse life with a different perspective than most. The perspective of someone who leads rather than follows. The perspective of someone who is willing to be seen in the public eye. I now have an attention to detail that most people just don't have. My life is extremely well organized and balanced. I'm honored to hold a lot of energy for others, and as such, I have higher expectations in my life than I used to. I don't settle ever about anything. I stopped agonizing, or excuse me, I stopped apologizing. I guess stopping apologizing and stopping agonizing are two peas in a pod, I guess. I stopped apologizing a long time ago. I claim my domain. I stand in my sovereignty. I take full ownership of my up-leveling. I take responsibility for everything that shows up, meaning that I respond to what's going on rather than sweeping it under the rug. I ride the wave of energy like my inspirational muse. And if my up-leveling makes others uncomfortable and they can't keep up, that's okay. I will no longer hold on to people, process them, or try to coax them to the light. In truth, there is no right way. It's all perfect. Everyone has their path. And I know mine. I know who I am. I know where I'm going. I do not need permission, nor will I apologize for being who I am. I will not shrink to make others more comfortable. I spent the past 4 years of my life doing the deepest, most transformational work on the planet with hundreds of people, and I do not make this claim lightly. I co-founded Explosive Sexual Healing, for Christ's sake. I've been spit at, sworn at, and projected on by people working through their deepest pain and traumas while they were naked on a massage table. I've exorcised demons, quite literally. I've heard real life stories that were worse than most horror movies. No exaggeration. Excuse me. And I've had the profound honor of birthing the goddess, which again, for the extremist fundamentalist people with their heads up their butt that are metaphor illiterate and addicted to absolutism, that is a euphemistic metaphor just for female empowerment and human equality, you know, meaning that she's not this poor little me, frail damsel in distress that needs any sort of knight in shining armor to ride up and save her. So that's what the metaphor means. And I know I need to explain these things because most people out there that are going to be listening are so wrapped up in the malware and narrow-mindedness. Not your fault, by the way. I mean, after all, the educational system is there to narrow minds, not expand them. Moving right along. Ben and I now hold massively transformational, multidimensional awakening retreats at our divinity school in Costa Rica. I've passed the test in space holding and ego projection. It was a wonderful initiation, and I'm no longer interested in processing people's shit. By the way, more metaphors were used there. I'm not going to explain each and every metaphor at every single pass. Like at this point with my explanation, if you guys don't get that there's metaphoric language being used here, too fucking bad. Go cry in a corner. Anyway, oh, and I'm not going to apologize for that either. So moving on. What I am taking a stand for is mirroring sovereignty and unapologetic self-love for others so they may see it in themselves when they are ready. I geek out on, oh, and by the way, I am going to be saying something about the idea of self-love too in a little bit, because I don't subscribe to the new agey version, and neither does she, but you'll see that soon. I geek out on real transformation. I'm passionate about results. Real results, not talking about results, not talking about the path, not knowing the path, actually walking the path. Or as Vinnie Eastwood likes to say, activism should mean you've been activated. So much activism is about narrow-minded groupthink and parroting. Continuing on. The scary stuff, the gritty stuff, that's my journey. And I will not be held back by those who are more interested in processing the path and gossiping about the path than doing the real work to move themselves and all of their heavy baggage up the mountain of life. Here's the thing. We're all on a spiritual journey, whether we know it or not, whether someone knows where they are going yet, they will get there when they are ready. I know who I am. I know where I'm going. And I've become clear in how I'm getting there. It involves aligning myself with other leaders who are going the direct way up. It doesn't involve carrying other people's heavy loads and burdens for them. I'm no longer afraid to lighten my load in order to journey up the mountain of life swiftly. For those of you who know what I'm talking about and who are boldly lightening, as in reducing weight, your loads as you swiftly walk up the mountain of life, I salute you. The journey isn't an easy one, but it's well worth its weight in gold. I truly hope this serves you and activates you on your journey. Yes, activism, be activated. Don't do the group think thing. If it resonates and you'd like to join us on our Sovereign You Activator call for free or listen to the recording, just post yes below. And for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, please know that my higher self sends you love and that my human self has zero tolerance for processing your triggers. Please feel free to unfriend me immediately if you are triggered. No need to process or argue over the internet. I like it. Then there's the next couple. At the top of this one, I just captioned it with yes. Fuck political correct BS. Don't be afraid to give your medicine. It is your greatest gift of healing to the world, regardless of how it is received. Don't be afraid of your fire. It's the best source of transmutation, same thing, I guess. It's the best source of transmutation you have. It may feel scorchingly hot to some, but that's where the magic resides. Don't be afraid of your tender heart. It's not your weakness. Indeed, it is your deepest strength. Don't be afraid of your passion. It is the intense love in you that heals and transmits your radiation upward. Don't be afraid of your light. It is the visible illumination of your love in action. Don't be afraid of your love. It is your unwavering knowledge and expression of your highest truth made manifest. Don't be afraid to be all of you. It is yourself in your wholeness that this world so desperately desires and needs. Don't be afraid to be the conduit of your own medicine. It is your medicine that activates you to be all of yourself. Do this for you and you alone, and be amazed by the multitude of ways others benefit. Yeah, it's like I always tell people, I don't say what I say online to try to convince anybody of anything. Convincing others of anything is impossible. All you can do is be an example of the change you want to create, inspire others, and then what they do is up to them. Free will choice is a catch-22, bitch, and it's not a negative thing to admit that that is so. To activate this, say aloud now, I am the medicine for this world. I am the fire of transformation. I am tenderness. My passion is my compassion. I am light. I am love. I am whole. I am here. I am all that is, or if you prefer, a part of all that is. So be it, and so it is for the highest and best good of all. Excuse me. I hope this serves you. If you'd like to be on our Sovereign New Activation call this week for free, or listen to the recording, post yes below. Now for the next one. I caption this with being you is a crime, according to the state. Well, fuck the state, in the ass, with a salt and vinegar soaked pine cone. In a loving way, of course. 6 things I love about myself that I could feel bad about, but don't. Yeah, that throat chakra is really trying to rape me today, but fuck it. I'm naturally blonde, beautiful, rich, self-made, and I have a loving, brilliantly sexy husband who adores me. I've created my life, so I have a lot of free time and self-care. I love my body even more after having 2 kids than I did before having children. It takes me about 3 weeks after birth to take off the baby weight, and it comes off easily. Oh, and I have incredible, blissfully orgasmic births. 2, I have the keen ability to be highly resilient and to transform and evolve extremely rapidly, and to help others do the same in their lives. I can reinvent myself at any time. It's nearly impossible to keep up with me because I grow and evolve so rapidly. No need to try to keep up. You'll most likely exhaust yourself until you are wired like me. 3, I have an ego. She has a personality, and she's hilarious and clever. I'm not your guru, and I will not pretend to be. I'm not on a quest to pretend I don't have an ego, or to be superficially or to superficially transcend my ego. I will not stand on a pedestal for anyone. I will not play small or hide who I am so others feel more comfortable. 4, I'm exceedingly good at seeing the root of a problem rather than what meets the eye at surface level. I'm extremely good at helping others with transformation and birthing the next evolution of themselves. I'm an amazing activator. To be an activist, you have to activate an intuitive channel. I'm not attached to the way my activations are received. My activations are my greatest gifts. Excuse me again, and I honor them 100%. 5, I'm unapologetic. That's right. I will never apologize, period. If we don't see eye to eye, fabulous, then we aren't aligned. No need to argue about it. And don't worry, I certainly don't expect an apology from others who disagree with me either. I do not apologize for my beliefs if they differ from someone else's. I know who I am. Unless I specifically ask for an opinion, I'm not interested in receiving unsolicited advice at any time. I'm not interested in humoring others. 6, I unabashedly love myself. In other words, without bashing oneself. See above. Feel liberated to like this if you love yourself and see the mirror. Feel free to unfriend me immediately if you feel triggered by anything in this post. Do not dump your baggage here. It will not be tolerated in my space. Feel sovereign to write your own post about how much you love yourself if you feel inspired. Sending massive love to you all, to all of you light leaders who live your truth. Thank you for being you. I truly hope this serves you to love yourself, excuse me again, and to live sovereignly for you and you alone. Feel free to post yes below if you'd like to be on our live Sovereign You call for free this week or listen to the recording. Now, before I read, that's Katarina's post on that. Okay. Now, before I read what she said, I'm going to read my caption on this. This lady hits the nail on the head. There are so many people who look at new agey narcissists in their apathy and lack of compassion. Oh. Apparently, my mom did not get my little notification that says I'm on air. Anyway, this lady nails it on the head. There are so many people who look at new agey narcissists in their apathy and lack of compassion, publicly refer to what they are doing as self-love. And then the people viewing them fall into the trap. They observe this and they say, yes, I am going to blindly believe that this is what self-love is. And so when I see anyone talking about self-love, I'm going to view it as bad and wrong. And furthermore, I won't dare to be kind to myself because if I do, then this automatically makes me a narcissist. It's the same trap people fall for in political spin when you disagree with the president and are automatically labeled a racist for having done so. If I stab myself in the penis with a fork and label it as penile health therapy, this would not mean penis health is bad and wrong. It would mean I'm a whacked out nutter spouting bullshit, and it would be helpful to you to then identify me as such instead of believing that penis health is unhealthy. Of course, that was an analogy. I'd never say anything so crazy. The craziest I get is saying, that organized crime gangs run the world, that the organized crime gangs that run the world want you to have low self-esteem, no discernment, and blindly believe everything without thinking. Jesus said you will love others as you love yourself. That's what we're doing. We see a world of apathy and crime and war and genocide because we are loving others equally to ourselves, and we don't love ourselves at all. So we loathe others exactly as we loathe ourselves. Well, I'm done with that meme. If you want to appreciate life and others, you must appreciate yourself first. If you think that's narcissism, then you seriously need therapy because you've been fucked in the head hardcore. Now on to Jen Rhodes' last thingy, because there's a lot of self-love stuff in this. So I really kind of needed to clarify that she's not being a narcissist. She's just kind of saying, don't abuse yourself, because that leads to everything the world has become. So if you want to stop becoming dysfunctional and self-destructive, you know, you might want to do for yourself what you want to see on the outside, because the more you appreciate yourself, the more you appreciate life and others. Because guess what? If you can't keep your own company, you're not going to be able to keep anybody else's, I guarantee you. Jen says, I spent the majority of my early life censoring myself, apologizing for being offensive, too intense, and too emotional. I walked on eggshells, always trying to say the right thing to keep the peace in a dysfunctional Catholic alcoholic family. The problem was, no matter how much I tried to make others happy and to create peace amidst the chaos, it never happened. Oh, and I wasn't happy or peaceful either. Quick little pause in that. It's as I like to say. Some people just aren't happy unless they just aren't happy. And there is nothing you can say or do to change that. It is what it is. It's not your fault. You didn't do that to them. They'd be that way if you were never bored. So stop blaming yourself and stop the appeasement bullshit. Moving on with Jen Road. Then I hit a breaking point. I made a firm decision to live my life for myself, to be happy for me, to speak my personal truth unapologetically, and to write and speak things that to write and speak about things that lit me up and that I was passionate about. I committed to do this for myself, regardless of what others thought. I made a decision to live my life on my terms for me. Previously, I spent so much time trying to make others happy while putting myself last. So I made a decision to do something crazy, blasphemous, self-centered, irreverent, rebellious. I decided to love myself first for all of myself. My strengths, my weaknesses, my bad habits, my charm, my humor, my sardonic wit, my intelligence, my whining, my offensiveness, my depression, my anger, my fierce love, my intuition, my tongue-tied there, my intensity, my sensitivity, all of it, all of me. I decided to love myself first, no matter what, and to accept myself exactly as I am, warts and all. And I realize now that time of acceptance, that decision, was the beginning of transformation, a major turning point. Because transformation occurs not when we try to force change, but instead when we infuse everything and everyone, starting with ourselves first, with unconditional love. We are all ever evolving. There is no end. We are all works in progress. We are all perfect now. No, perfect in our imperfection, you might say. Please know that you are absolutely perfect right now, all of you. You're not too big. The world needs all of you. It's time. To activate this, say aloud now, I'm perfect now. I love myself exactly as I am right now. I hereby vow to love myself first no matter what. I have a right to be here. I am here now. I know who I am. I know how I serve. I choose to be fully seen now. I surrender to fulfilling my life purpose now. I hereby invoke my free will choice to be free. I am sovereign. So be it. And so it is for the highest and best good of all. Sending massive love your way. I hope this serves you. On our Sovereign EU Activator call this week, we will be working with the universal laws, self-love, and reality creation. If you'd like to be on the call for free or listen to the recording, post yes below. And for the people who are getting a bit triggered because they might be extremely Christian, let me translate the I'm perfect now thing for you. Jesus said we're all Christ. All that I have done also shall you do, and greater still. And when someone approached Jesus once and he started to say, good teacher, his response was, call me not good, for no man is without sin. So even Jesus admits that he had his own demons, but what he learned to do was not let those demons be in control. To let those demons be the crying, screaming 3-year-old in the back of the room, whining that it's not getting its way. and to not see that screaming neurosis as our authority, to not worship that as our God before God, to not break the commandments in the Bible by taking that and making it our God and our authority that we obey. So that's what Christ was being an example of. And he said outright, all that I've done also shall you do in greater still. He said, the same Father in me is also in you. That as he's done, we can do. But it's all a matter of choice. We have to choose it. So none of this is anything more or less than Christ has ever said. It's just being said in a different way. And no one should have to apologize for saying it in a way that isn't word for word biblical, because as Shakespeare said about a rose by any other name, you know, we're all so hung up on fucking labels. Drop the fucking labels, please. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that right now. So I'm going to let Richard take the soapbox.
First of all, I just want to say I fully agree with everything that she had to say in those posts. They were very, what's the word? They were very inspiring and gave me a little bit more sense of my own revelations that I'm about to share with you with the time that I do have. So Dave knows full well what I've been going through the last, let's just say 6-month period. Let's just make it a rough estimate, 6-month period, all the highs and lows in between there. Dave knows what I've been going through, and it's been a ride, let me tell you. And I'm going to stick to a first name basis here because all these names are very common. There's a million people by the names of Natasha, Brianna, you know, and so on. There's a million other people, and I'm just going to keep it to a first name basis. I'm not going to violate confidences. I'm not going to say anything that doesn't need to be said. Anyway, so I was dating a girl beginning of last year. We dated for a little while, and it was a good relationship. I mean, we had a lot of, we have some things in common. We both like, science and, science fiction and space and, the more sciencey, nerdy or geeky type of stuff. I'm an intellectual sort of guy, and she's an intellectual sort of gal. But I've noticed a lot of this, especially in the female crowds, and I'll own up for where I need to own up. I've done it too. Dave has been a witness to that. I've been I haven't been perfect on it, but I've noticed a lot of this self-sabotage, negative feedback looping that's been going on. But anyway, me and Brianna were compatible in a lot of areas. There were ups and downs to be sure, but it really broke down to, at the end of it all, she was triggered by me. At least in my opinion, she was triggered. And she broke up with me. And her reasoning wasn't really sound. She just said, I don't think it's working out. But yet again, she was vague on that and didn't go into any real details as to why she thought it wasn't. She just said, oh, I don't think it's working out. And never really gave any context or really went into any real sort of details behind that. She was very vague with the reasons as to why. And, I was totally fine with it. It's people are going to do what they're going to do yet again. And I'm not going to judge somebody based on their decision that they feel they have to make, but it doesn't mean I have to agree with it or like it either. I don't. There's no law that says I have to like it, but I have to accept it. But, yet again, it is what it is. It's a catch-22. It's a free will thing. And, all you can do for the people you care about is love them and support them and, back them up on whatever decision they make, even if you don't like it. But anyway, I've noticed that with her. She's been dealing with a lot of things and, dealing with a lot of issues that are psychological on her part. I'm not going to go into any details on that one. Primarily, just out of respect for her and her wishes. But anyway, she's dealt with a lot of stuff. Had an abusive boyfriend in the past, and it's been hard on her. And she's had a lot of mental malware carry over from that. And I've noticed that with a lot of people have bad experiences, and they tend to allow those bad experiences to overrule and pretty much psychologically dominate everything that they go through after that. Even if the relationship is beneficial, good, and somewhat constructive and opposite to what they're used to, they still allow that original bad experience to overrule by default a different relationship, and they'll carry a lot of those tendencies that they had in that other relationship over to another relationship. And that was mainly what happened there. And I took some learning experiences out of it. I'm still learning, I'm still figuring things out. I'm not perfect. I'm not pointing fingers and saying, ooh, that person over there, they're all screwed up, I'm perfect, I'm God. I'm not saying that. I've learned that everybody goes at their own pace. Everybody has their strengths and their weaknesses, and that's something I've been really refining in the last year about myself, that I can say, I used to get really aggravated and angry and pissed off at people because I would sit there and I'd go, well, why aren't people doing this? Why aren't people waking up faster? Why aren't people figuring things out quicker? Why aren't people, and I would ask a million questions, and I would drive myself nuts, with all these questions, piss myself off, because why the fuck aren't people doing it at my speed? If I can fucking do it, why can't they do it? Yada, 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 yada. They're just pathetic. They're weak. They need to, and one thing that Dave can attest to is, he pointed that one out to me. He's like, well, not everybody's going to be moving at your speed there, Rich. So slow her down there. Not everybody's going to just go charging right on into things like you do. And even you don't charge necessarily into everything as quick as, some other people do. There are certain areas where you just want to avoid it like the plague, and where other people can get through it with relative ease. And there are areas where, Rich, you go through with relative ease, and yet other people, struggle with it. So everybody's got their levels, everybody's got their limitations, and but you've got to work with what you got to work with. And all you can do is really, at the end of the day, focus on yourself. And, that was an important lesson for me that, frankly, I'm still refining upon, still, working on in myself. And that I'm still crafting within myself to make myself a better person, because at the end of the day, all you can really do is control yourself and own up for your own actions, and, just be who you want to be. And that's the main thing I've been trying to do, is be as genuine about myself as I can to other people, and be an inspiration, be there, be the guy that I want to be. And, someday when I get into a relationship that I really want to be in, and be with that person that I've always wanted to be with, I want to be, the boyfriend or the husband that she's always wanted, and, be that guy, that she can rely on and that she can trust with her deepest, most inner feelings, whoever the heck that is. I don't know who the hell that is, and I'm not going to try to sit around and neurotically predict like I have done in the past. I used to sit there and, drive myself insane over that one. Like, who's it going to be? It's like, well, who cares? I don't know. I don't have the answers. I can't, I'm not, I'm not some reality bending, force wielding Jedi who can just make and shift whatever reality he wants. You know, I can't do that. And even if I did, I still wouldn't do it because, you know, that would take all of the fun out of the journey. And part of shifting is just going through the journey and, you know, bettering yourself. No shortcuts, no cheats, no nothing. And anyway, part 2 of this whole thing that I'm doing here. One big major person that I'm going to go into detail here is Natasha. And if she ever does watch this, this is coming from a place of the most genuine, deeper inner thoughts of my mind and my heart and everything that I am. I'm saying this totally genuine and totally in the open and as authentically as I can say it. You know, this is genuine. This is all the things that I've been feeling here within the past 6 months, even the last couple of years. I'm not going to go into everything. I'm not going to go into the full details. That can be in another PSEC hangout in the future if need be, but I'm going to at least get a lot of the meat of this whole thing out there and really dig into it and really put it on the table and just kind of slide it forward and say, there it is. You know, this is one major demon that I've been dealing with, and I feel it needs to be said and said out in the open and said publicly, and here it is. And I'm not gonna hold back on this one because, frankly, she's somebody of great importance to me that, as Dave very well knows, I care about and, you know, feel very strongly for as a person. And I feel that she deserves to know the truth if and when she's ready to stumble upon this. So, man, we're going clear back to 2012. So Natasha, I met on deviantart.com, and deviantart.com is probably one of the most extraordinary, in my opinion, one of the best social media sites I have ever stumbled upon ever in the history of mankind, just because of its ability to be able to inspire people, to be able to shape and inspire artists and, you know, philosophers and people of all various walks of life who have a creative mind that don't just want that standard subpar, you know, social media experience like, you know, fuckbook or, you know, all of the, you know, Twatter or some of those other, you know, bland social media experiences that we're all used to. Anyway, DeviantArt's one of those really awesome social media sites that I would suggest anybody check out, set up an account, do whatever. That does not mean I support core, but yeah, DeviantArt core, see Kyle. Anyway,
although it's funny how people think that they get confused, like, oh well, core must mean that you're against DeviantArt charging subscriptions. No, being against core means being against how they literally doubled their prices while patronizing the shit out of us, adding absolutely no new features, and then saying that we're supposed to like it. And that, in fact, if they were to charge more, we should still love it because we're getting so much value for the money. And it's like, you know, just patronizing as shit. It reminds me of an
Obama. Always got.
Yeah, it reminds me of a fucking Obama speech. It's like, we're gonna take this big tree, we're gonna shove it up your rectum, and you're gonna like it because you're taking a hit for the team. It's for the good of the country. And the benefit of the country is the benefit of the world. We're all going to dance around the campfire, all happy, and because you're getting this shoved right up your ass. You know, that's an Obama speech. So yeah, it just totally reminded me of an Obama speech. You can also search the PSEC channel for a little bit of an older video. This was before Core, but when they started getting really fascist. The title is called Bleed and Breed. And it was based on a journal that they did when they literally it changed the DeviantArt logo to a Nazi swastika with the tips cut off. And then they made this announcement about bleed und breed art. And it just like so resonated as a Hitler speech to me. And so we did this video where we show the the DeviantArt logo, and then you see the Nazi swastika tips being added in a fade in effect so that you can see exactly what they did there. And we read it. Well, Richard read, not we. I made the video, but Richard read off a section of that journal entry, and we have on-screen text as he's reading it in his For the Reich voice, that sort of thing. So it was pretty freaking hilarious.
For
And
the
then there's
greater good of DeviantArt, Sieg Heil.
Bleed und breed art, yes. So, and then right at the end, we have a very appropriate short little clip from the movie Brave New World. And
DeviantArt sind das über alles.
Yeah, and
today DeviantArt, tomorrow the entire world.
And if you've never watched Brave New World, it's a great movie. And if you're not sure where to rent it or buy it, you're in luck because it's free on YouTube. Amazingly, the censorship Nazis have not taken it down. So if you do a search on YouTube for Brave New World full movie, ta-da, and you can watch it. And if you got a little downloader plugin like Video Download Helper and Download Helper or anything like that, you can download it and keep a copy all for yourself. And yeah, it's a pretty good movie, and it's great, and I recommend it. But I'm gonna go back to shutting up now. It's just you mentioned the whole DeviantArt thing, so yeah, I had to chime in.
Very good. But anyway, with that context aside, which was important, if you hadn't known anything else about it up to this point, which if she ever watches it, she'll have all that context because she is, well, at least kind of sort of a user. I think she's been dealing with a lot of trauma and a lot of issues as of late. Well, she's told me that she's been dealing with a lot of trauma and issues as of late, but anyway,
I'm still here, by the way. I'm just putting video focus on you because you're the one talking.
Fair enough. Essentially, I met her in mid 2012, somewhere around there. I can't remember, June or August. And we were kind of, just good friends, just chatting back and forth on DeviantArt. And, she was a cute 16-year-old girl at the time, just turned 16 not too long after that, when I really started talking to her. And I had turned, let's see, I want to say 17. Yeah, I was 17 at the time. And anyway, we started a good little online relationship. We really started talking with each other, and there was a lot of sparks flying in this long distance relationship, and we fell in love, and we became almost inseparable, as it were. Well, we did become inseparable there for a point. We were madly in love with one another, and would send all these notes back and forth, tons of replies and comments, smoochy emoticons here, kissing, hugging emoticons there, talk to each other on Skype when we got the chance. And, things got very heated and passionate and awesome and amazing in a lot of ways. And it was a very major shifting moment. But the main thing I want to go into is the importance and impact that she's had on my life. I'm not going to speak so much from her perspective. I feel that would be a place for her and her only to speak upon. I'm not going to comment for her or do anything that she wouldn't want me to say. It's not my place to share her personal information. She's told me a lot of things in confidence that I'm going to keep within my sphere and the sphere of people like Dave that I trust, and keep that information relatively consolidated, because it's not information that, frankly, anybody needs to know unless she's willing to volunteer it out in the open and public. But I'm going to speak on my perspective and give my 2 cents, because my 2 cents I can openly speak upon and, shout out there freely and openly.
And for the record, he hasn't even told me 99.9% of it, just the occasional tidbit as he deems it relevant. But 99.9%, I still don't even know.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, basically me and Natasha got into a major relationship within early 2012, which is kind of energetically synchronistic in and of itself. Well, no, late 2012, actually. Late 2012. Not early 2012, late 2012. It was late 2012, early 2013. So right around the time that everybody claimed that the Mayan calendar was ending, or the last day, the cutoff date on the Mayan calendar, and the new year of 2013 was coming in, and when the energies started getting really interesting.
It's the end of the world as we know it, and I
That was
feel
one of the
fine.
most god-awful
But not the end of the world. But not the end of the world. Just the end of the world as we know it, and that has totally been true.
Mm-hmm. That was one of the most god-awful years of my life. One of the most god-awful years of my life. 2013 was a bad year, at least for me. That was a year of real total reconfiguration. That was a bad year. Anyway, so me and Natasha got into a really good relationship, and she comes from a background, and I know she wouldn't mind me saying this, but she comes from a Christian background. She's a relatively Christian girl, but she comes from more of that kind of traditional hardline Southern gospel sort of Christianity, branch, is where I'm kind of more of a, at the time I was more of kind of a, what you would call a standard church going, hymnal singing Christian sort of type, just a standard type of Christian, and, we were compatible on many levels, and we still are in a lot of ways. Our politics were both relatively what you would call more liberty minded, patriotic, pro freedom, pro firearms. And we're both still that way in a lot of ways today. I'm still a gun guy, and I love firearms. I mean, you can refer to some of my DA images if you want to refer to my take on the Second Amendment. I'm a very proud Second Amendment gun owning American.
Your new toy is on DeviantArt, isn't it?
Yes, my new toy is on DeviantArt. I got a for any of you who don't know, I got a Romanian Wasser 10. It's basically a civilian variant on the famous AKM pattern, or the Avatomat Kalashnikov modernized, which is basically a stamped receiver. It's an AK. It's an AK. Some would call it an AK-47, but it's really an AKM. It's my first rifle. I love it. I haven't had a chance to take it out to the range yet. When I do, I definitely want to get some pictures of me trying it out at the range, maybe even get some video of it and upload it, and post it to DailyMotion and YouTube and various other social media outlets, because me shooting, I love filming myself shooting firearms. But anyway, back to the story. In 2012, I was, put this out there, I was very sexually repressed, because coming from a mainstream Christian background, sex is a taboo subject, and that's a problem within the church today. That's why you see a majority of that's why they consider a majority of pornographic customers Christian men, because they're so damn repressed that they have to go online and stroke their wee-wees off just to get that that energy, that pin-up energy that they have, and
not to mention your stepmother made you feel as if being male was a crime.
Yeah, and she still seems to think that being a male is a crime. Well, she's a feminazi. I hope she dies of cancer. Oh, did I say that out loud? Oh, so harsh. Shame on me. Shame on you. But anyway, I was very what you would call sexually repressed, and I had a lot of issues at the time, a lot of open wounds, and you know, this is synchronistic. Katerina and Paul Roy are doing Facebook videos on this sort of stuff, but here's my take, and I hope they see this, which I imagine they probably will. But I was very, very repressed at the time. I had a lot of taboos, or what society would call taboos, which are just really psychological, just basically your psychological inner mind crying out in agony because you've got all this pent up frustration and misunderstandings and frustrations, and you know when you get older, it kind of just branches out into a sexual fetish or fascination. And Sigmund Freud and a lot of psychologists have pointed it out. It's a common societal meme. Well, I was in that meme. I'm working my way out of the meme, but even now I'm still somewhat in the meme. And I think as I develop my communication skills, a lot of those things, and then when I get into a good open relationship, I think a lot of those things will just fade away. Just like coming out of the fog or coming out of the smoke from a forest fire, just goes away. One minute you're there, the next minute it's gone, and it's blue sky and the sun's out and the birds are singing. But anyway, you know, I was she was a major influence. She is the pinnacle of influence on who I am today. She was everything she is everything I've wanted or seeked out in somebody, at least as far as I know up to this point. She has a lot of the best traits. She has the brains. She's a very smart girl. She's just, I've, from my observations, I've noticed she's very quiet, and she tends to be, she does a lot of listening. She doesn't do a lot of talking, but that's all right. Everybody's got to work on their voice, at some point.
And she's kind of a bit hard on herself, so her good qualities can sometimes be hard for her to see, which can be said for pretty much everybody until they learn to shift out of that. I mean, that's the way society teaches us to think about ourselves. You're poor little me, worthless, blah blah blah. Everyone else is better than you. You're nothing, blah blah blah. So I think that's common. I don't think that's anything that is pointing to any particular person. That's a very unfortunately common thing in our society that's perpetuated. So I think we've all dealt with that to some degree or another.
Quite, Dave. Yeah, I've dealt with a lot of that. I've dealt with a lot of the mental malware in regards to, yeah, there's things you want to say that you should say that are the right thing to say, but you don't say because, oh, what if they get offended? Oh, what if this? Oh, what if that? Blah 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 blah. And I'll be honest, and this isn't violating any confidences. This is just my observation, what I've noticed. She's still trapped in a lot of these memes and a lot of these psychological tendencies of, oh, I'm worthless, oh, I'm pathetic, oh, I just need to bury my faith or bury my problems in somebody else, in a knight in shining armor. And that is what backfired and destroyed our relationship the first time. Is she viewed herself as the damsel in distress, and here I am, the man's man, knight in shining armor, the big Superman shield with the R on it, and I'm standing there, doing, the wind's blowing the cape thing, and it totally backfired because we psychologically projected off of each other like a couple of mirrors. We were so well aligned that we just literally blew apart like a supernova, and it just went to hell.
Years back, me and Jennifer Kodak explained the same thing, or experienced the same thing. I'm not violating any confidences. This is very open information where both of us are completely happy to, admit that this was the case. The point being that the knight in shining armor thing doesn't work because the damsel in distress and the dragon are one and the same. The key out of the dysfunction is to get her to see her own empowerment and to be supportive of that. But in order to get her to see her own empowerment, you have to first see your own first and realize that it's not your place to save everybody. It's not your place to be the cat lady and save all the cats and then have all this stinky, stenchy, dysfunctional mess and then go, well, I'm supposed to be the saver, the savior, the knight in shining armor. What did I do wrong? I have failed at life because I am not the savior I'm supposed to be and I should be, and I've done fucked up and I'm horrible. And you got to move yourself out of that and just realize that the more you are empowered in and of yourself, you're setting that example and being that inspiration. And like that's the meme of betraying ourselves instead of being ourselves. We're trying to appease others and be the knight in shining armor, or be the damsel in distress, or to get all those degrees and certifications and act appropriately as society says we should, and we're totally betraying ourselves. And the second we act as ourselves and then the hammer drops and oh, it'll always drop, then we feel like we're in the naughty corner. Shame on us, we've done something wrong. So feeling that guilt and shame about being ourselves is what continues us to perpetuate, betraying ourselves more. But when we stop betraying ourselves, we start to feel better. Because when we can respect our right to our own journey and our own pace and our own processes and learning from our own mistakes and gaining knowledge and wisdom from that, we don't judge others so harshly. Then we kind of see them as kindred. Like, oh, they might be spouting shit at me right now, but I see myself in them. I remember when I was in that mindset. So it's like we're having compassion for them instead of contempt, and it like brings about a whole new view of the world that is like wow. And there's a lot more peace both internally and outwardly, because the people that don't resonate start to drop off. You don't have to block anybody. You don't have to kick anybody out of your life. It doesn't have to be this big battle. They just start unfriending you or not talking to you anymore, whatever the case may be. They peacefully drift. And then awesome people come in. Awesome people like you, like Katerina, like Kristen and Rochelle.
Voids fill themselves.
Yeah, they totally fill themselves. And the thing that stops us is these people that are around us. They're always like, oh, you better conform or you're going to lose all your friends, and once you've lost them, that's it. No more friends. You're going to be alone forever. And I had to move past that and see that if I was losing friends because of my own self-improvements, that creates a void, and then the void fills with whatever level I've achieved. So then I start to draw more people in who are of that level. Then as I improve more, any at that level that aren't able to keep pace, like Jen was saying earlier in her post, those people will drop off and other people will replace them. So not everybody is going to be with you on your journey for the whole stretch. Some people will, but that's going to be the extreme minority. So the key is to not feel as if you fucked up because everybody isn't at your level and everybody isn't on your journey. You're on yours, they're on theirs. It's neither good nor bad. It just is what it is. And your traveling partners in that journey for the whole thing is going to be because all of your journeys are similar enough that you're always in each other's orbits.
Mm-hmm. Quite. But going back to self-empowerment and reflections, I mean, there were the negative connotations, which I already labeled. Overall, our relationship totally blew up the first time. And it's been kind of hit and miss ever since. We've been kind of like, in this wiggle wobble kind of dance. I mean, we're friends on Facebook again, and, all that water is under the bridge and we've just let it be. And we both dropped that conflict. We've mended the fence on that one, which has been both beneficial for me and her, to close that open wound that was festering for so long. Dave was actually the one who suggested, why don't you just message her on Facebook, say something, and I'm like, oh, but what if and it's like, here, all the,
Actually, it started on DeviantART. I suggested you just tell her the truth on DeviantART. Just tell her how you feel, short and sweet. Tell her who you are now, and you did.
Oh,
And
that's right.
And she was very impressed by that. It showed her, wow, he really is different. So maybe now I could talk to him without any risk of history repeating. And the rest is history.
Mm-hmm. Quite, even though I'm being reflected with the same exact image. Wax self on head with cartoon Acme hammer sort of thing. Anyway, I'm going to keep that one just quiet under the bridge. Don't feel I need to say anything or give my 2 cents on that one. It's not appropriate at this point. I feel I can eventually say it to her face in a kind and gentleman sort of way and give my perspective. I don't need to mention that publicly.
I think I will simply say it as you both aligned when parts of each of your journeys match, and you are both at a distance when there isn't a match. And lately, 8 times out of 10, there's been no match, which is neither good nor bad. It just is what it is. Her pace is valid. Her pace is valid. Your pace is valid. It's all good. But I think that's the best way I can phrase it, being general, because that also applies to anyone, everyone in anyone's life. It is what it is.
Me and her, I'll put it this way in a more classical kind of aerospace analogy. We're like 2 Gemini capsules in orbit that are trying to get into rendezvous, but we're chasing each other down. You know, I'm a little farther ahead. She's following behind. You know, and it's that point of like you come into orbital kind of rendezvous for a little while, then you're on the same orbital plane trajectory, but you're in 2 different spots. You know, you can kind of see each other off at a distance, you know, if you look through, you know, navigational devices on your spacecraft, but you're still just kind of specs to each other for the most part. You know, you have awareness of one another, but there's a heck of a lot of distance there, put it that way. You know, it's not total like she just left orbit sort of thing and you're still sitting there in orbit, or you left orbit and she's still in orbit, you know, over here sort of deal. You know, it's nothing like that at all. But anyway, going back to 2012, I was very, very messed up on, you know, a sexual level. I had a lot of pin-up things that, you know, I didn't feel I could talk or trust anybody with, not even my parents, especially not my parents, you know, because they had that kind of Christian, you know, sort of mentality. And there was a lot of messed up things going through my head and a lot of things that I need to put into perspective that were, you know, unhealthy for me, for everybody around me. I viewed everything in a very insecure way. I couldn't look girls in the face. I couldn't, you know, I just figured at that time that I was never going to get with anybody. I was always going to be alone. It was always going to be just me. I'm alone, yada, 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 yada. And it's just not going to happen, you know. At least that wasn't what I was thinking consciously, but subconsciously that was the meme. And, you know, it's like, I'm going to get what I'm going to get. And that's just that. And blah, 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 blah. I was totally adrift. Well, then she came along and I was totally taken back. I was like, my God, you're the woman I've been looking for. I didn't expect to find you this early. What the hell? You know, that sort of thing, you know. I mean, I was thinking, well, maybe she'll come along one of these days, but I don't know, yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. She might not, she might, who knows? I don't know, you know, but if it's going to be very unlikely, you know, all of this stuff going through my head, all this irrelevant, erroneous stuff. And meanwhile, here she is, like a gem in front of me. It's like, holy crap, holy crap. I've struck the jackpot. Here it is. It's in front of me. You know, I had to slap myself and pinch myself on the wrist because I thought I was dreaming. I wasn't dreaming. And, you know, we got to know each other and, you know, then we started getting more intimate and more on that kind of, you know, our biology kicked in. And I'm not going to go into details on that one. Obviously, there's too many privacy issues on both my level and her level that I'm not going to close in on. I haven't even told Dave any of that stuff, and I probably never will, unless, of course, the need arises to where that information needs to be filled in because it's crucial or for whatever reason, but I've never said anything and I probably never will on that subject. But anyway, to keep it baseline, we went into, as teenage boy and teenage girl do, we got very strong, passionate feelings for one another, and we showed those things quite regularly. And, she was one of the first people who really showed me that I do matter and that I am something that is worth a woman's time. She was a major, major, major example of that to me. And 2012, 2013, that was my junior year of high school. That was a rough year. There were girls at school that, gave me shit, which I still resent to this day. And, that's stuff that I've still carried with me. And I mean, I've let it go, within the past year or so. I've let that demon go, but, and it's been a process, but I still don't think it's okay for others to be little human beings. I still kind of hold a grudge on that one. It's like, it's not okay. It's not all right. You had no right doing that. But anyway, meanwhile, all of that stuff going on at high school, she was the first woman who really took that time, in my age group to show me that I do matter and that I'm okay, and, that I'm okay and that I'm worth it and that I mean something to her and that I can be the man that I want to be, and that, I can have some of those, desires. Now, there were certain things where the malware came into play, but at first she was, she went on that traditional Christian path with me. She kind of mended a lot of those wounds at the level that I could handle it at the time. And it was closure that I needed. And she was there for me every step of the way in those early days. And because of her, now this, Natasha, when you are watching this, if you ever watch it, this will give you cognitive dissonance because it is frankly the truth. It was through her, or through you, whatever subjectiveness you want to put it in. It was through her that I met Dave, and after the relationship fallout with her, became better friends with Dave, and eventually ended up on PSEC, and eventually ended up and progressed to where I am here right
Just
now.
just to clarify that, me and her had each other on each other's watch, because the way DeviantArt works, because it's an art site, is you can add artists to watch so that you get their art and journals and stuff coming through on your notifications feed on there. And we both had and still have each other, on each other's watch. So it's like, it's not like I ever talked to her or really knew her or anything like that. I mean, I've got a lot of people on watch. A lot of people have me on watch. So it was just one of those things. So me and Richard kind of bumped into each other because I had posted some comment or another on one of her art pieces, and he replied, or however it was exactly that went down. But it was that sort of thing. It's not like I really know this chick. I really don't. She's just one of many people on DA. So I just wanted to clarify.
But anyway, I mean, it's still one of those things where it's like, what are the odds? Really, what are the odds? It literally couldn't have worked any other way. It could have worked other ways in alternate universes. Of course, we could go into quantum physics, but let's just say, what are the odds that was the route it went? Well, it did. And it was because of her, and her being a catalyst, and there for a while embracing her own inner power and embracing herself and embracing me at the same time, wrapping her arms and around me and taking me in, metaphorically speaking, and helping me to better myself, or at least start on that journey that I needed to start on to become a better person. And that is,
and then the dominoes fell, and you ended up meeting Kristen and Rochelle and Katerina and Paul and etc.
and our fences amended, and now I'm kind of where Dave is with Natasha right now, only I know her a hell of a lot better and she knows me a hell of a lot better. That's the only difference there. But distance wise, me and Dave are like at the same spot. You know, we're docked at the metaphorical space station while she's way the hell out there, just this little tiny dot, following us on the same orbital trajectory as we're just going on by at 17,500. But anyway, yeah, she's been a major catalyst, and this is where the main meat of this conversation comes from. I want to get out there. I just want her to know that she is important, that she does matter, and that I do love her just as much as the day I did when I fell in love with her. She's a beautiful, Natasha, you are a beautiful person. You are a lovely person. You're a great person. And you are more than capable of, you know, having the power to conquer your own demons and climb over the highest mountain. And I just want you to know, if and whenever you watch this, me and Dave are here to help you every step of the way. We will be here for you, and we will not leave your side. You've got a lot of friends, whether you realize it or not. Some that you haven't even met yet, but we're here for you, and we're willing to fill in whatever voids may come in the future, or if not, it'll be your own journey to take on your own way. If we part ways and separate ways in the future, well, so be it. That's just the future, and that's just what it is. But if and by chance, and I hope this is the case, I would like to see this. I would very much like to see this, and for not only the sake of your best interest, psychologically, but for everybody's sake, because you're an awesome person and you have a lot of inspiring and awesome things that I know you're capable of. I remember when you were at the height of posting things on DeviantArt. You're a very talented person. You're very smart. You're very insightful. You're creative, and you're just a boatload of awesomeness and cuteness. I'll just say that. But whatever happens, whatever may be, I'll just say this: me and Dave are here for you, no matter what. And no matter what you do, what you say, or how you act, we'll always be here for you in spirit, or on Skype, or even maybe someday in person. Who knows? But I'm just making that general pledge and just throwing it out there and saying it because it needs to be said. And these are the times that try men's souls, especially in these energies, and we need to be here for each other throughout this journey. We're going through that negative feedback loop kind of cycle right now, and there's a lot of old things that are being regurgitated that have been there for a while. And
let everything happen. Let everything happen to you, beauty and terror. Just keep going. No feeling is final. Posted to PSEC by Richard Hamilton.
And that originally came courtesy of Katerina Roy. Thank you, Katerina, because she shared that one. But yeah, I mean, and that's something that I want you to know, Natasha. I've been dealing with a lot of this stuff, and currently your most current relationship with whom you're with, which I'm not going to say his name because he probably wouldn't want me to say his name, just to, because I respect the fact that he's very serious about his privacy. He says so publicly and states that he's very serious about it. So I just won't say his first name at all, because I'm a gentleman, and even though I don't know him and I can't say who the heck he is or what the heck he's about, I'll be respectful and be kind, because that's the gentleman thing to do. But your current relationship has triggered the hell out of me. I'll be honest about that. It's triggered the hell out of me. It's driven me nuts even. Dave can attest to that. It's driven my false ego literally insane. Like the same thing all over again, only this time I've had the self-control and the power to say, no, I'm not going to do Einstein's definition blah, blah, of insanity. I'm going to stand in my own sovereignty. I'm going to be the person I want to be, and I'm going to be the change that I want to create. I'm not going to allow, these same old neurotic patterns to continue themselves and destroy a friendship. Because I can at least say right now that I have a friendship with her, with you, Natasha. I have a friendship with you. And, I'm not going to ruin that. You're not something worth ruining twice. You're not something that deserves that sort of pain. You deserve happiness. You deserve all of the best that life has to offer, regardless of what form it comes in, whether it be me or whether it be another person. You deserve the best, and I want you to have the best. And whatever that best is, I'm okay with that. And I've come a long way, as you can probably well tell and see. I've come a long way. There was a time where I would have pulled an Anakin Skywalker and I would have done the exact opposite, and I would have made a total ass of myself, and it would have gotten me nowhere, and she would have eventually probably broken up with whoever the heck she was with anyway. But, yet again, I'm not predicting. You're with somebody, I'm happy for you, and may it be the best, most fruitful relationship possible, however long it lasts or whatever it looks like. All I care about is that it's beneficial for you and that it gives the best possible and most fruitful result at the end of the day. That's what I really care about, because you're the most important person to me, one of the most important females in my life, whom lives at a distance, lives a very long way away, but you're very important to me as a person. And if and whenever you watch this, whenever that may be, you may never watch it, but if you ever do, this is the message I've been wanting to say. There's a lot more details that I could add that I feel that could be said, that should be said. And, I feel that you're a very important person that deserves to know the truth. And I'm not going to stay silent on these matters any longer. I'm going to continue talking about them. I'm going to continue bringing them up. But, I just want to nail it home and nail my commitment out there and say publicly what needs to be said, and say it resolutely, and put it down on in the virtual realm. I want it to be said. I want it to be heard. I want it to be seen. And, I feel that, you're absolutely worthy of the truth, and I'll just keep nailing that home. And like I said before, and this will be the fifth or sixth time now, but me and Dave and Katerina and Kristen and Krista and, the entire PSEC crew are here for you if and when you're ready, whenever that is, however that looks. And if you happen to not align with us and we're not a part of your journey, well, so be it. But I just want you to know that you do matter.
And I want you to know that if you're ever feeling down, just have some pudding. Just have some pudding.
The wanky shit demons, shit and wank pudding. Foods made with magical shit and wank.
Yeah, just have the pudding. I love that video.
Oh,
just do a YouTube search for wanky shit demon, and yeah, that's wow. It's awesome. It's funny as hell. It's disturbing, but it's funny.
Magical shit and wank. But yeah, besides magical shit demons, I just want to throw that out there. That's really what's been on my mind as of late. And to anybody else out there, if you happen to be watching this or coming along, like especially you, Brianna, if you wonder why I've been so silent, that's part of the reason why. That whole recent development, it's been a real challenge for me. Natasha's been a challenge for me, and it's been difficult. It's been difficult for me. I've had a lot of things on my mind. And no, Brianna, I don't want you to feel sorry. Don't feel sorry. It's not your fault. There's nothing that you did that was wrong. It's been totally me. This is totally about me. This has nothing to do with you. This has nothing to do with you, Brianna. This has nothing to do, with Natasha's perspective. This is all me, all my perspective. This is what I can say because I know it's coming from my heart. It's coming from in here. And it just needs to be said, and it needs to be said out loud. But overall, the main points I want to nail home is Natasha has been one of the most crucial people I've ever met, because without her, I wouldn't know Dave. I wouldn't have started on my journey. I wouldn't, the things that I enjoy today, I wouldn't have, and I wouldn't know, because I wouldn't have the confidence to go for those things. Natasha opened up something in me and showed me, yes, there is a Darth Vader there, that there is a monster, and, I need to put it into perspective, and I need to clear it. In the last 2 or 3 years, I've really been learning how to do that, and how to do it in a way that's not co-opting or destructive.
I guess you're wearing the right shirt then.
Yes, the Death Star.
Lord Vader, execute Order 69. I want to fuck.
As you wish, my master.
That sort of thing. But really, that's all I have to say regarding this issue right now, without going into too many details that violate full confidence and various other things. And I feel like I could bring this up again, because honestly, I feel it benefits me personally. And at this point, from my perspective, it is about me, and this is what it's about. And, this little blurb is, totally about me and my perspective. And I feel like I could bring it up again at some point.
And this sort of stuff is what true self-love is about. Not that new agey, narcissistic fucking crap that people spew out that they say is self-love, but they're really holding everyone in contempt, and their narcissistic vanity fucking guruism bullshit. True self-love is that compassion and empathy and perspective on that, to see the negative as a positive opportunity for positive change, that unconditional love, because if you don't love yourself, you can't love anybody else. If you can't tolerate your own company, you're not going to be able to tolerate anybody else's, and you will treat your neighbor as you treat yourself, as the world as it's been has shown. So that's what self-love is about, not this new age fucking bullshit. So don't fall for the trap, and stop obeying worded labels, and actually think critically, and think about what the words mean, and think about what things are supposed to be. Look at something like, okay, well, they're calling shit roses, but is it really? Oh, it must be, just because they're saying that. No, knock that shit off. Think about it. Then you'll see, oh, that's shit. That's not roses. Okay.
Any other name for a rose is still a rose.
And the roses are planted in the shit called fertilizer, but they are not themselves the shit. Don't stick your nose in a pile of shit thinking it's a rose. You'll get an unpleasant result.
Oh, but that's ammonium nitrate. ISIS uses ammonium nitrate. What difference does it make?
So I guess if you like roses, that means you're a terrorist. For no reason, because unicorns.
If you like goats, you're a terrorist too. Brianna.
And Krista.
And Krista.
Yeah, but they don't like goats sexually, though.
True. But they have an obsession with goats. That's concerning. The CIA is going to be watching you. with their little sound gun.
No, ISIS is going to be watching them because ISIS is on the take. All your goats are belong to us.
Blah.
But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
not a goat butt, but anyway. Moving on.
Yeah.
You gotta laugh or you drive yourself nuts. You gotta laugh. You gotta lighten your heart in order for that true self-love to come in order for that true love for others to come
And
in.
that's one
Because
thing I can.
if you can't laugh, you are fucked like a goat attached to an ISIS dick.
That's the one thing I can say from my perspective about Brianna, and this isn't an attack on her. Don't take it as an attack if you ever watch this. It's not. It's just a suggestion because I care and because I love you. You need to learn how to laugh and you need to learn how to lighten up. You need to learn how to take jokes about goats because, frankly, if you can't handle a joke, how can you handle 90% of things? You got to learn how to handle some humor. You know, I've had to learn how to do that. And sometimes, yeah, humor's going to be personally jabbing. People are going to roast you, you know, that's just part of life. You just got to learn how to roll with the punches and be able to laugh and be able to throw a sucker punch right back, you know.
Really, Rich? Really, Rich? Really? You had to say you had to say Wolf and Farm. You had to say Wolf and Farm, Rich. Really? Ah, Brown. Did you really have to do that? Really, Brown? Really?
Oh, James is being a smartass again. Oh, that lobster bisque is going right through me. Oh, my eyes are crossing. Oh, I work for Lockheed.
Yeah, you know, really bad roasts. No wonder they call you Brown, Mr. Michael Brown, Mr. Brown.
The street address is buried at the bottom of the pile.
Ew, I don't want to dig for that street address. Maybe that's why he can't remember the password.
Inside jokes you will all never know.
Yeah, you guys will never know what those jokes mean. You're all sitting here probably going, what the fuck are they talking about? This is not funny.
You don't want to know.
You really don't want to know.
You just don't.
Just
but moving on.
Nip it at the bud. We're moving on because you really don't want to know.
Moving on.
A lot of this stuff is based in truth. You don't want to know because you'd be looking at these people going, what the fuck?
Moving on.
But anyway, I've said my piece on Natasha, and I'll bring it up again at some point when it's relevant and we do another hangout. But if I haven't said it a million times already, Brianna, Natasha, you're both very worthy individuals. You're both very worthy people. You're both awesome in your own ways. You're both amazing in your own ways. I love the two of you both very much, you know, and I wish the best for both of you. And of course, Brianna, I need to text you, of course, which I will at some point. I'm just, you know, dealing with school and dealing with work. And as you well know, I'm very busy, as you already know, because I could tell you this right now in a text message and you go, oh, I know, because you know me very well. But anyway, these are things I've been needing to get off my chest. I'm glad they are off my chest and they've been said publicly because there are people who deserve to hear what I have to say. They need to know what I have to say and they're worthy of the truth. And there's the truth. And I'll be delving into this truth far more later on another PSEC hangout.
Now what you want to get on your chest is a whole other matter.
Well, that might be a little bit rated X there, Dave. You probably don't want to go there.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. Oh, and quick little update before I go. The deliciously amazing tangy tangerine is working quite well, quite wondrously. I've actually done quite a bit of detoxing and I'd say relative kind of sort of weight loss. I think I'm going to have to do a little bit more experimentation with some of the other products that Longevity offers when I have the money, of course. But shit works. What can I say? it's wonderful stuff. I can eat a bare minimum of. I haven't been doing that so much in the last week or two, but as Dave can also attest to, I ate maybe there were days where I was eating maybe one meal a day, and I was doing just fine. Yeah, I was hungry. I would eat until I got really hungry when I could tell, like, my body saying, "Hey, feed me, asshole." Then it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll put some food in my stomach, and then, you know, and I lost all that water weight. It just came right off. I've had immense amounts of energy, far, far improved. Um, you know, it's just done a lot of amazing things for me. Longevity really isn't bullshit. I mean, they back their products for a reason, and they brag about their products for a reason. And that's just the Tangy Tangerine 2.0 tablets. That's just the tablets themselves. You know, that's not even the whole enchilada that they offer generally in their
Also,
packages.
the last time you talked about this stuff, you also mentioned B caps, BEE caps, and I decided to try those out, and so far so good. One of the main things that they do is they, relieve, muscle pain and body ache and stuff like that. And though I am not completely free and clear of that sort of thing, it is that has been greatly diminished compared to what it was before I started taking the B cap. So I can attest to the fact that these also are what they say they are.
And as with the Tangy Tangerine and the B caps both, I mean, we've only really kind of begun our journeys on those things respectively. But I can say from my own personal experience, the B caps, when that stuff really fully works its way into your system, the pain does go away. It takes a while. It took me a while to get to where my system was like acclimated fully and using it to its full potential. But once that happened, oh man, you know, my joints are like freaking all lubricated, and everything just works the way it's supposed to. No problems. And my immune system's fully boosted and supported. My immune system was badass to begin with, but the things I feed it with, man, my immune system looks at colds and flus and viruses. Everybody else is hack and sick with mucus, and my immune system just goes, I remember when I used to get sick. I don't get sick. What's sick? Sick is for ninnies and sissies. I'm the 300 Spartans. We see colds and we're just put up our shields with spears, and we're just like, screw you.
I haven't really gotten sick since 2012 when I really started, shifting what I was eating and doing better for my health. I mean, yeah, I still have junk food here and there. Every once in a while, I'll still indulge in that big, rich, greasy pizza and, this, that, and whatever. I haven't gone like vegan or anything, but ever since I shifted my health around, like, all I'll get is like the occasional rare 24-hour bug, or maybe my allergies will mess with me a tiny bit, or little occasional things like that. But not, I used to get like full blown colds and flus and bronchitis and stuff like that once to twice a year minimum. And ever since I started shifts and taking better care of myself, I haven't experienced any of that hardcore, nasty, kicking my ass, laying me up in bed, sneezing, coughing, vomiting, feeling like I'm dying. That just has not been my reality for a long time now.
Yeah, same here. Last major thing I remember dealing with sickness wise was 2014 ish, somewhere around there. Um, that was like senior year of high school, but since then, I haven't had really anything cold or flu bug wise. Maybe late 2014, but that was like just a little tiny bit, kind of some nasally shit going on. But
all the colds and flus and everything else like cycle through everybody else in this house, especially because, you know, Katie's 11, she goes to school and she brings home all the sicknesses that all the other kids have. And out of everybody in this house, guess who doesn't get sick? Me.
The same way at work, everybody's going through these cold and flu cycles, and I'm just sitting here going, what the fuck is wrong with you people? This is like a bad episode of Star Trek or something, you know? Sitting here going, my God, Jim, what are we in? The Dark Ages? You know? It's kind of one of those things. I'm just sitting here going, sick? What's sick? I don't get sick. You
Anyway.
fucking me?
Moving on, any final thoughts on the topic of how to not betray yourself, or are we done thoughting? Or
I'm pretty much done. Plus, I want to wind down and watch an episode of Gotham. And if you haven't gotten a chance to watch Gotham, it is epic.
Oh, it's an awesome show. I love how more and more shows are really about paradigm shifting and are relatable and really make you think about, you know, shit that's going on in your own head. Obviously the scenarios are fictional, but like Gotham's a good paradigm shifting show, as is Once Upon a Time. As a matter of fact, yeah, I was going to mention that. But basically, Gotham is like the Al Capone version of Once Upon a Time. That's kind of the way I describe it. So yeah, Gotham, Once Upon a Time, Supergirl, even shows like Arrow and Flash and Legends of Tomorrow, shows like that. They really get more into the dynamics of what's plaguing people in their heads right here and now. It's not like, you know, watching something that is totally sci-fi, totally displaced from reality, as if you're getting a glimpse of something in some other universe that has nothing to do with you. The shit really hits home and kind of helps you learn how to deal with it. Game of Thrones is another good one. Of course, warning, that gets really bloody and violent, but it really goes into a lot of the dichotomies
and
of the geopolitical stage, and kind of helps you understand how and why the world has kind of gotten so Machiavellian. So all good shows for increasing your awareness and helping, you know, yourself shift through whatever it is you might be going through.
Yeah, Game of Thrones in a nutshell: sex, violence, gore, and plenty of cheesy ass humor.
Oh yeah. Oh, and Babylon 5, although it's an older show, it's not on air anymore, but you can find it online in many other places. You can buy the DVDs, whatever. Babylon 5 is a really good paradigm shifting show as well that I would.
And then, of course, the classic all-encompassing Star Trek and series of shows and movies. Those are all very good. Star Wars, obviously, and all the various shows and movies.
Yeah, so if you're looking for some good stuff to watch, because obviously a lot of what's on TV these days and for the last 1 to 2 decades, somewhere in there, has been mostly been garbage and continuously getting worse. There are still, you know, some really good shows around that are actually helpful and beneficial and make you think and, you know, get creative and all that, instead of just mindless reality shows and trash.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. I guess that's it. So, hope everybody has enjoyed listening to this. I hope this has helped people out there, made you think about life a bit more, think about yourself, you know, see things in a more expanded light and feel not so much like a victim, but rather seeing the negative as a positive opportunity for positive change. Believe nothing, disbelieve nothing, question everything. Peace out.